Welcome to the abundance journey where we flip the script on struggle. We turn stress into success. I'm here to help you partner with the divine and unlock practical strategies and spiritual alignment to create the abundant life your soul designed you to live. So let's open the gift of abundance right now. Did you know that over 70% of US households actually have a pet? And research shows that pets can lower your stress, improve your heart health, and actually lengthen your life. Now, pets aren't just companions, okay? They're actually healers, teachers, and daily reminders of unconditional love. But what if you could go deeper? Yeah, what if you could truly communicate with your pets and with the animals all around you, not just with words, but through intuition? Welcome to the abundance journey where we flip the script on struggle and uncover how alignment with the divine creates joy, purpose, and flow. I'm your host, Elaine Starling, the Abundance Ambassador, and I'm here to help you discover the sacred invitations in every experience of your life. Well, today we're exploring the fascinating world of intuitive communication with animals. Just imagine understanding what your dog is really trying to tell you, or connecting with the spirit of a beloved pet who has crossed over, or receiving a profound spiritual message from a wild hawk. Intuition isn't limited to people. It's the language of connection that bridges species, hearts, and even realms. My guest today, Nick Musica, is a psychic animal communicator and intuition coach. His journey began with just a 15-minute session with a psychic medium at a fair in Carlsbad, California, an experience that completely changed his life. Since then, Nick has dedicated himself to communicating with pets, both living and passed on, and helping people like you strengthen their own intuitive gifts. Based in San Diego, Nick works with clients all around the globe on Zoom. He helps humans and their pets create deeper bonds and mutual understanding. Why? Because they're intuitively connected. Nick, welcome to the abundance journey. I'm so glad you're here.
Thanks, Elaine. Happy to be here. Yeah.
This is going to be so fun. And your energy is really lovely. I got to say, you've got this really calm, deep, grounding, connected energy that I absolutely love. And I want to make sure that all of us get the most we possibly can out of this conversation. So we're going to connect our energy, yours, mine, with all of the audience, as well as the God of your understanding. And there's two different things we're going to do to connect our energy. The first thing is we're going to take 3 long, slow, deep breaths together. And as we breathe in through the nose, think the words, I am. As we breathe out through the mouth, think the word consciousness. I'll remind you when we get to that part. Then I'm going to share an intention. I always point at my heart when I say intention. Our intention is very much like typing into a spiritual GPS. This is where we're going and how we're going to feel about it on our journey. And it's an interesting thing, but we are going to hold that intention in silence for 78 seconds to give the divine long enough to lock in on that higher vibration. Now, it's hard for human beings to hold 78 seconds of silence. We're used to being distracted all the time. And there's 2 things that I've found that really work for me. The first one is I'll pick 2 or 3 words out of the intention that just feel expansive and enriching that high vibration that I'm choosing as my new reality. And I'll repeat those 2 or 3 words over and over again in my mind throughout those 78 seconds. And then I notice what's happening with my body, because sometimes I'll get a rush of heat or goosebumps or an image pops in. Whatever happens along those lines is just a sign that the divine has locked in on our new vibration and is ready to play. So, speaking of ready to play, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right, let's start with 3 long, slow, deep breaths. Breathe in, I am. Breathe out, consciousness. Breathe in, I am. Breathe out, consciousness. Breathe in, I am. Breathe out, consciousness. In love and light, we are so happy and grateful that our animal companions awaken our intuition and deepen our connection with the divine as we experience every moment with them as a gift of love, wisdom, and joy. Thank you, divine. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done. We give thanks, and so it is. Wow, that was really cool. It's funny. I have a cat, a wonderful cat named Tickety Boo. And I got this image of sometimes I'll just check on my cat throughout the day because I'll be busy on the computer and I go check on her and I'm like, hey, how are you doing? You doing okay? Are you a happy cat? And as soon as she hears happy cat, she throws herself down on the ground and she'll roll around. It's like it's her happy dance. Meow, 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 meow. Happy dance, happy cat. And I just got that there's so much joy in this relationship. It was really beautiful. Did anything come through for you?
No, no, not for me. No. Yeah, I just have a different process with connecting with them.
Oh,
Yeah.
very interesting. Well, tell us a bit about how you got started. And I'd love to know how you do connect with
Yeah.
animals.
Yeah. So you touched upon in the introduction. So my wife and I go to this psychic fair in Carlsbad. This was 2.5 years ago. And we walked around the showroom floor. We didn't see anyone that we liked. And then we approached the floor from the opposite direction. And right in front of us was the sign that said, Medium Adelita, Psychic Medium. And I asked my wife, what do you think I heard, Joel? My wife said, that sounds great, but you're going to go first. And, I didn't, at the time, I've been to psychics more than once, but a psychic medium just wasn't part of my bag. And so I figured I'd sit down 15 minutes, wait 15 minutes, and I can't wait to hear what my wife has to say. Because for whatever reason, I felt like she'd be a good match for Julieta. Well, I sit down and Adelita starts drawing this heart. And she says, this is either a former romantic relationship or it's an animal. She circles animal. And then she says, you did too much. And I knew immediately that it was my cat, Henry, who died when he was 22. The last 2 years of his life were going back and forth to the vet. Check the poo, check the water, well, whatever you can do for a cat who's 20, 21, 22. You're not solving any problems, but you're ideally addressing symptoms. So the summary statement of "you did too much" was spot on. So as my reality of, a psychic medium is a real thing is catching up very quickly, she's continuing to do her thing. And so Adelita says, my guides are now showing me Dr. Doolittle. They're showing me that you can talk to animals and it's going to be easy for you. And I was like, oh yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, that's totally true. No reason to think that. But it just, when there's certain periods of time where you just hear something and for whatever reason, you're just like, this is what we have to do.
Yeah.
Right. That's it. So I figured I'd go home and do my typical meditation and tune into my living cat, Chucky. And so I do my typical meditation and I try to find him. And I see this big, bright light. It's the light that you would read about that's associated with like spirit guides, angels, some higher level being. And I go, my cat poops in a box and sometimes on the floor. He's not a higher level being, right? No. So I call her up and I say, easy, like this isn't easy. This is not even working. And she goes, well, you're expecting information to show up in a very specific way. Be the open channel. What you get is what you get. Okay. So I decided to give it a second shot. And I get these animal communication books and I get a couple animal communication sessions set up with folks so I can try to understand. I'm trying to understand, what does this look like? How does any of this work? And as I get up from my dining room table to go to something very similar to this, a Zoom meeting with an animal communicator, I stand up from my chair and I get this quick flash of one of the ending scenes of Return of the Jedi. There's the ghost of Obi-Wan, there's the ghost of Yoda, and I'm being shown a student-teacher relationship, and it's coming from Chucky. Like you just know it. You just know it to be true. And the crazy part of all of it is he's the teacher and I'm the student in this relationship. It's very clear, which made that introduction, that bright light that I completely blew off. That was his introduction to me. But I was just like, that's not a thing. That's not a thing. So after that, my world started to open up quite a bit. And it was all about me and my experiences out in the world. Me and the dolphin, me and the dog at Home Depot, me and the horses, whatever it was me and my world. And then a buddy of mine said, do you think you can do this for other people? And I said, I have no idea, no clue. So I went on to Nextdoor, which if you're familiar with it, yeah, okay. So it's a lot like Facebook, but it's same conversations, except it's people that you don't know. They're your neighbors, right? But very similar conversation. And so I posted. My name is Nick Musica. I'm an animal communicator. That means I psychically talk to animals. Click here for free 15 minutes. And I used a Google form. So I'm looking at what I posted, and I'm looking at this Google form, because you can see the information filling up in real time, right? Someone hits submit in this form, it shows up in the spreadsheet. And at the same time, I'm watching this conversation that I started. And this was like, when Trump is doing his thing and Biden's doing his thing, and there's this, right? It doesn't matter who said what, this guy stinks, this guy's great. That's the dynamic, right? And what I'm starting to see is, this is amazing. You got to be kidding me. This is fantastic. No, this is a real thing. Is this guy for real? Like, and so I'm starting to see, I never started those conversations until now, but now I see him go, oh man, what did I just do? And then I see the first row fill up, and it's very basic information. It's the young lady's first name, her last name, the name of the animal, age of the animal, breed, and give me 3 questions. And that's pretty much what I asked for. But I felt her come through. I felt her intention to want me to connect with her animal to come through, which is, for me, is the key. If you show up and you're like, you fake wanting the connection, just doesn't work for me. Just doesn't work. But I feel her come through, and I talk to the animal like on a Wednesday, and then and then I debrief with the human on Friday. And at the end of, I don't know, it's 15, 20 minutes. It was something like that. She says, the reason why I wanted to chat with you is because my former animal communicator passed, and I was looking for a new one. Would you be okay if I referred my friends to you? So right out of the gate,
That's great.
Right. The first one, she didn't say that was cool. Thanks. She didn't say really enjoyed it. Thanks. No, she offered her friends. Right. She's like, I'm going to send people to you. So I went in there wanting to know, can I do this? Can I do this for other people? So the first one to come back was she's sending me your friends. Cool. So I got what I needed. She got what she needed. It was a good time.
Wow, what a great story. That is so cool. And it's obvious that you have a certain sensitivity already
Yeah,
to connect with people, to connect with energy at a
that's right.
distance. And so you can tell someone's intention, right?
That's right.
It really makes a difference how you're showing up, because whatever your intention is what gets manifested. So it's really important to be very clear about what your
That's right.
intention is, and ideally that it's an intention that serves both you and everyone else, because whatever you're after, like if it's only for you, the divine doesn't do that.
I mean, it can be only for you if it's clean, right? If it's clean with good intention, right?
Right.
No one else has to be involved.
True. I mean, if the good intention is I want to speak with my pet and nobody
That's
else is
right.
really all that interested in my pet, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I asked this one question of all of my guests, and I've never had the same answer twice, which I absolutely love because to me that's highly relevant. Given the kind of work that you do,
Yeah.
Nick, how do you define abundance?
The definition of abundance, I think it's really simple. I think it's having the freedom to do the things you want to do. And that doesn't mean things are easy, and it doesn't mean there's no obstacles, but it means because those are going to show up anyway, right? I was talking to someone recently about manifestation and sharing a little story from a book. His name is David Toomey. The author's David Toomey. And in this book, it's called The Kingdom of Play. He's talking about these little piglets, and they're researching these little piglets in this controlled environment. Flat room, enclosed room, flat floor, and the researchers are watching these little piglets just run around full speed and then belly flop. and they go, that's got to be a mistake. Like, what reason do they have to not continue to run it all out? But then it keeps happening. And they realize, well, in the wild, there are no flat floors. There are no enclosed rooms. There's trees and there's holes in the ground and there's predators chasing these little prey piglets. And they think that the animals were planning for the unexpected to happen. A fall, when they trip over a root, and not only were they planning for falling, but more importantly, they were planning to get up. Right. And so I'm having this conversation with this individual, and they're like, but if you're manifesting, don't you think you're manifesting the fall? No, you're anticipating it, which is different. There's a difference between manifesting fantasy and being ready for reality.
Yeah.
Right. And so the more prepared we are, the more we can handle the things that come at us. Resilience, if you will, right? So the freedom we're talking about doesn't give us a free pass to everything is roses, unicorns and rainbows, but it does put us on the right path, and that's such a wonderful thing.
I love it. And especially when you're talking about resilience, because one of the key messages that came through for me is I get divine downloads all the time. I was blessed on New Year's Day 2005 to have a stroke. And during my stroke, I got to have a conversation with my higher power. I got a complete download about how everything works, why we're alive, what we can do to live our best life, and what happens next after this life. And it's really interesting, but one of the key messages that came through during my stroke is, look, we are deliberately pulling you out of alignment. If you think about it this way, you're in your human self, and the human self has judgment and fear. And when you're in your higher self, it's all about love and gratitude. So every time you are accidentally in your human self, and you do that a lot, you step into judgment and fear, and then you notice that that's where you are, and you use your tools to come back into love and gratitude, that actually expands the divine. It actually grows God. So that's why you're here in your physical form, because you're here to learn about love and all the different ways it can show up for you. And so it's no surprise that there are lots of times when you're out of alignment. And you're just talking about how important that resilience is. You're
Well,
going to hit problems.
yeah, but also, so I think about it a little differently. So I think the goal is alignment, right? I think the goal is always alignment, and we do bounce out of it, right? So and then the periods where we're out of it can become shorter, and the severity can become less. But that doesn't mean reality stops,
Right.
right? And so those things that are not ideal will still show up, but the context that we give it, right? Instead of the thing that happened to me, it's the thing that I can learn from, as a simple example, right? But that assumes that we're doing the right things for the highest best for ourselves, right? And then when we're on that path, I mean, you can get a flat tire going to the best place you want to go to for a road trip, but it's way better to get the flat tire when you're going towards your destination where you actually want to go versus the place you don't want to go, right? Because what a pain in the ass that flat tire is, going to the place you don't want to go. But when you get the flat tire on the way to the destination that you want to go to, how do we fix this flat tire and how quickly can we do it? Yeah. Right? Two totally different mindsets. So the more we can operate from a place of alignment, the more we can actually stay on the path. And I mean, there really is no destination. It's the path, right? So, but we can continue to stay on it as much and as best we can.
That is so true. Yeah. And I want to get this back to the animals that you've spoken with, because you have this incredible connection and experience and in getting their messages. I mean, obviously, we would all like to improve our intuition and improve our ability to connect with each other. What have you noticed are kind of the things we have to be willing to shift inside so that we're open to receive those messages?
It's a great question. So I think we're all not. So we're all capable of some version of everything we're talking about. Just because I'm attuned to animals currently doesn't mean that'll be the standard forever. That'll be the steady state forever. And that doesn't mean you won't be able to do it tomorrow either, right? So it will grow and it'll shift and things will change, and that's just part of it. It's just part of it, right? And there's a few things you can do to prepare yourself for whatever that is. Number one, among anything possible that you can think of, is going to be meditation. When it comes right down to it, it's meditation. If you're not doing it, you're not doing any of this. It's going to be random, like it's just random spark plugs when they're just shooting off. We're looking to be able to do this consistently, right? And so the best way I've been able to articulate to myself is I was lucky enough to get a surfing lesson in Hawaii a few years ago by a professional surfer. Like just a wonderful experience, right? Wonderful experience. And this guy he's a champion. He's a world champion. And I've always had a crush on Hawaii. And as I'm having interactions with him, I'm imagining just like surfing all day long, right? Just that would be the thing. I imagine you're doing this all the time, and I tell him this. You must surf every day, and he goes, I don't. I train every day. I'm mountain biking every day. I'm in the gym every day. When there's a contest coming up, I'll get more in the water to prepare for the contest. When the waves are good, I'll get in the water, but I'm not in the water every day. I'm training every day. Oh, okay. So it's not talking to animals every day. It is meditation every day. There's training days and there's game days, right? For him, the training days were mountain biking, was gym days, and then the game days were the contests. So in this context, the training days are the meditation. The training days are not drinking alcohol. The training days are eating well. The training days are being active. The game days are talking to the animals, right? So you can't just magically jump in the pool, shall we say, right? And do a best time. It's work, and not everyone wants to do the work. But here's the promise: if you do the work, something magical comes from it.
It's so true. It's so true. You have to be willing to spend the time inside. I find that so often we're very externally referenced,
That's right.
and being at the end result of all the things around you, what are the latest headlines, and what is somebody arguing about? All of that is just a reminder to go back inside. Go back
That's right.
inside and find that clear, grounded, centered space and own it. And one of the things that I've started doing throughout the day, I'll do those 3 long, slow, deep breaths of I am consciousness. Breathe in, I am, breathe out consciousness. And then I just sit there and rest for a moment in that space of infinite divine grace. And you can feel how connected you are. You can feel how united you are. And you can just start to sense what is present for you. I found that to be a really powerful practice. Meditation does not have to take hours and hours. There's lots of different ways that you can do meditation to really go deep. And another thing that has been very powerful for me, after the 3 long, slow, deep breaths, I will often read an intention out loud and then do 5 hums in a row where you take a deep breath in and hum, and you hold that one note as long as you can for that breath, and then another one 5 times in a row. That humming is proven to help reset the vagal nerve. It is also a very well-known spiritual practice, and I find it takes me really deep, really fast. So more and more messages come through. So I just wanted to share that with you because, meditation is huge, and there's so many different ways to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
So cool. So if meditation is the first step, what's the next thing that we can do that really helps us tap into intuition and that ability to connect with animals?
Yeah. So a lot of folks, I think, could relate to this experience. You're thinking of someone, and then they're calling you, or they're texting you, or vice versa, right? That type of thing, right? And that can show up in that's sort of the one that everyone goes, oh yeah, that's happened to me, right? You get a room full of people that 80% of them are willing to raise their hand, shall we say? But that coincidences, shall we call them, that type of thing can show up quite a bit. And so here's the challenge: is, well, we're not thinking about it as a coincidence anymore. We're not thinking about it as weird anymore, because there's nothing you can do with coincidence. You can't build anything by random things showing up. You can't do anything with weird. But when you think about these things as taps on the shoulder, something trying to get your attention, synergies is a nice word to use here. Things that seem random, but they go together. Chocolate and peanut butter, right? Whoever put that together was a genius. Didn't seem like it went well together, but we know they do, right? So we're looking for those pieces that show up, and you may go, "That's weird," and you may even have a hard time telling people about them because they feel really weird. Those are the keys to the kingdom, right there. Those are the keys to opening up your space, right there. The acceptance of the thing that's tapping on the shoulder, and once you do that, it's about repeating the experiences. Here's one to take home. So a lot of folks, oh my goodness, they say, oh my goodness, gift. I think on day one it is. I think when it shows up for you, it is. Just as much as any gift giving holiday is. Right? Christmas, your birthday, you get a thing, and here's the choice point. You get the thing, and let's say it's a baseball glove. You can collect baseball gloves for the rest of your life. You can put them on the shelf. You can put them up so it looks like there's a hand in it, right? It's meant to be used, right? It's day one, it's a gift. You received it. Day two, now you're working with it. Now you're figuring out how to catch the ball. Now you're figuring out how deep the mitt is, right? So you're getting to use the mitt. And that's a skill. And the same thing is at play here. Whatever opens up, whatever that first instinct of like is, whatever that first message is, whatever category it may be in, who cares what it is? That's the entry to any and all of this for whoever is listening.
Oh, beautiful. I love that. And there's a practice that I do that I found really helps with this whole process. I call it gratitude in advance. So, I look at the things that I'm very grateful for, but then I also anticipate something that's going to happen later today that I will be grateful for in the future. Like, for example, I'll ask to receive advice from 2 mentors today. And I'm not even sure what question to ask. But I just know I want to hear from 2 mentors today. And I'll be out at the grocery store or in line at Starbucks, and total strangers are having their own conversation in front of me. I don't know these people. I have no idea what they're talking about, but something they say triggers exactly what I needed to hear. And they were my mentors. I mean, this is available to us all the time, everywhere. And the other key ingredient, I'm just going to piggyback on what you were saying, definitely with a meditation, definitely paying attention to synchronicities. And number 3, step into this incredibly strong, powerful, creative space that I call grateful curiosity. You don't know how it's going to show up for you. You don't know in advance what the message is that's going to come through. You step in with grateful curiosity, with that inner knowing that the perfect messages are here for me and I'm ready to receive them. So when you do that, that's incredibly powerful because you're open and ready to receive.
That's right. So here's where that concept plays with the animal. So my wife and I went to Mexico after COVID. Maybe it was a year and a half after COVID. We didn't go anywhere for a very long time, and so we go to Cabo, and we're just kids in candy stores. We're just doing all the touristy things, and there's a chance to go swim with dolphin, and it's in a SeaWorld like environment, right? It's in a big pool. My relationship with dolphin has been seeing them out in the wild, surfing. So this is not how I envision dolphin. And I've never liked seeing animals in cages, right? Never felt good. There's a purpose for it. They're here. Ideally, they're going someplace else, right? But we decide to go. And there's an instance where the dolphin is up on this little ledge out of the deep water. The trainer is at her nose, Liz the dolphin, just feeding Liz fish, keeping her attention. And there's 1, 2, 3 people on the left and 1, 2, 3 people on the right. And I'm at the back end. And this is when things were first starting to open up for me. And I thought, well, let me see. Let me see if Liz wants to chat. So I find Liz, and I get this overwhelming feeling of sad. And I'm thinking, because you live in a cage, right? So now I have an opportunity to dive into my guilt and my shame and my ill feelings about this experience. And that is 100% my narrative and 0% hers. And so recognizing that this is it, right? And I could have left with those feelings and had a not a great time for the rest that we were there, because I would have been reliving that moment over and over and over, right? But recognizing that is me and that is not her. I tuned back into Liz and I just asked, well, why? Why are you sad? and I got one word. I got family. I got family. And so afterwards, I tell my wife, I said, I got to validate some information here. So I go to the trainers and said, we had such a great time with Liz. I'm just curious. Mom, dad, siblings? Dad? No, dad's off the planet. All right, that doesn't feel like it. What about mom or her sibling? Oh, yeah. Her mother's here and she has a sister. Cool. Where are they? Well, do you see that pool? The one on the other side of the concrete wall where Liz lives? That's the one. Mom and her sister lived there. Well, why is that? Well, because when mom had the second baby, Liz still wanted attention from mom. She was causing a problem. Mom couldn't nurse the new baby. So we took mom and the baby, put them in that other pool. That was 3 years ago. Well, how old is Liz? 5. So when she was 2, that's when mom and sibling moved next door. So imagine sharing a wall with a loved one, right? You walk out your front door, you can walk in their front door. No, that's not the case here, right? You only know they're on the other side of the wall. right? So as we're talking about how we look for things, and it's not looking for the things, it's being available to the things, right? It's being available. I could have walked out going, "Oh man, I hate this place. I think I had a bad decision. They're so mean to the dolphins." She could care about living in a cage. She cared about her mom and dad, or her mom and sibling, being over there. That's what she cared about, right? So it's really being at the top of our conversation, telling the Adelita story, right? And how I was tripping myself up, and she said, "You're expecting information to show up in a specific way. That does that."
Yeah.
And our job is to do this and be available for whatever comes through. You don't have to like it. You don't have to have a feeling about it, right? You don't have to be attached to it. You don't have to have an aversion of it. All it is information. That's all it is. I have a terrible, awful. I have a terrible sugar addiction. I walk by a bakery. I want to make a hard right-hand turn and go in there and buy one of everything, right? And I will feel awful if I do that. All it is information. I don't have to act on that information, but I do need to be available for it. I don't need to be available for the smells of the bakery. That's a bad idea. But this information, just being open for it, is there's a lot to just simply being open to receiving.
Absolutely. And I love that distinction that you're making between being willing to receive the energy versus acting on the energy.
That's right.
You know, I'm perfectly fine with standing outside the bakery and sniffing the air and just celebrating that scent. And I don't have to have it to have the joy of it, right?
Yeah.
The joy is in I received the message.
Yeah,
that's the real beauty there.
100%.
Wow, Nick, this is fabulous. It's such a fascinating conversation. I'm so tempted to keep you here all day. And I know you've got a few other things to do. You offered an amazing gift to the audience. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
For sure. Yeah. So if you go to the website, nickmusica.com, there's a newsletter. There's a newsletter there. You can sign up for it. And so what I'd love to send you is 3 ways you can start communicating with your animal. 2 are super easy. And 1, depending on where you are in your place in this conversation, could be a little more challenging. So great. 2 you can start to implement tomorrow. And 1, there's potentially 1 you can start to work on.
Awesome. Because this is a process.
That's right.
It's a continual learning. And it doesn't matter how good you are at it, how much facility you have in receiving the messages. There's always more. I always say this is like the ultimate infomercial. But wait, there's more. But wait, there's more. It's pretty amazing. Speaking of more, Nick, one of the things we love to do here at the Abundance Journey is we love to see how we can support our guests, because we know that when we give is when we truly receive the most. So what's something we can do to support you?
Yeah, go to Instagram, Instagram.com/ how do they have it there? At My Cat Schooled Me, right? That's the handle, My Cat Schooled Me. I forget the URL structure. But you can go there and follow me on Instagram. And I share a lot of the stories that we're talking about here and other ones. Because here's what I found interesting with the work. You know, as I stated at the top, when Adelita said, "Yeah, you're going to talk to animals," and I felt, that's totally true. What I never gave any thought to was, how would that look like? How would that present? Right? What type of information? And so I heard of folks who are like medical intuitives, and they could see, tumors under the rib. I heard a great story. This animal communicator saw this tumor under the rib that wasn't caught on a radar. Like, amazing. X-ray, not radar, on an X-ray, right? And they find it because of the guidance this individual gave, right? I'm like, that is fantastic. That is not what I get. I don't get that information. What I tend to get, people typically come to me because they have a 3D problem with their animal. My cat peed on the couch. Well, what'll happen if I get the new couch? My dog's biting people. I can't have people over. Can you tell my dog to stop biting people? My template is, you come in with a 3D problem, and then the conversation is about you. Your dog the animal's going, so here's what I want you to know. In the case of the cat peeing on the couch, the woman wants to know, if I get another couch, will the cat pee on it? Turns out that couch was the couch that her ex-mate sat on a lot. Only the ex-mate, there's room for two at least, but only he sat on it, sprawled out on it, is what she told me. Where were you? I was relegated to this little chair off to the side. I broke up with the boyfriend, but the cat peed on the couch. And so as I'm talking to the cat, I heard glass table. And I said, so what's with the glass table? She goes, you know what? Broke up with the boyfriend, got rid of everything. The one exception is something we bought together. It was the glass table. I said, okay, so I can't guarantee the cat will pee on the couch or not pee on the couch. Cats do cat things, dogs do dog things, humans do human things. However, this is a case of modeling behavior. Your cat is peeing on the couch because that's his feelings of this person that was on the couch. Get rid of that old couch, which you've already done. But more importantly, get rid of that glass table. Because that is the thing that is holding you to this relationship. You have not moved on. You've decided to keep the table for whatever reason. It was a good day with this person. I don't know. I don't care. Get rid of the glass table, then get the couch. Right. So that is how things typically show up. And people go, I thought I was hearing about Fluffy's favorite toy. Sometimes, yeah, sometimes. But typically it's, hey, let's talk about you. Let's talk about you and the situation, what we can do about this.
I love this conversation because these are teachers.
100%.
Our animals are in our life for a reason. They are here to share and teach us. Yeah. And when we can be open to receiving the messages, they're so profound. Because you're absolutely right. Not letting go and not allowing yourself to fully heal. That cat was being a conduit of healing for the owner. Cool. So, wow. Wow, Nick, you've left me with quite the dilemma. I've been taking notes the whole time you're talking. I have to pick just one thing to do the Activate Abundance segment around. So thank you. Thank you for so many brilliant messages today. I really appreciate you. All right, everybody stick around because we're going to activate abundance in just a moment. Wow, that was really powerful. But before we dive in to Activate Abundance, I would love your support. Please share this episode, leave a comment, and subscribe so we can spread abundance far and wide. And if you're ready to go deeper, I'd be honored to be your coach through the Inner Power Protocol, helping you move from spiritual overwhelm to embodied power so you live the life your soul designed you to be. Let's make this your moment. I love Nick. He's just such a wealth of information. I love his energy. You can really feel his connection. He's just so tuned in. And I love that sensation because that is such a safe and grounding place to be in. When you're centered like that, everything is available to you. So he did a great job of modeling that. I'll have what he's having. Step one is gratitude. I'm really grateful to Nick for all the great information he shared and also for his wonderful modeling of that super powerful energy. Makes a huge difference. Step two is to acknowledge something you heard that was an aha for you. And he really called me on it when he said, you're expecting it to show up a certain way. You're expecting it to fit a certain box. You're expecting it to look this way only, feel this way only, and then that limits what the divine can give you. So what if there's something so much more available to you? Are you willing to receive that too? And at the core of his message is, are you letting fear block the messages? Or are you leaning into it with grateful curiosity and love, ready to receive the messages that are present for you? You really called me on it. I loved that. That was an important insight for me to receive today. So I'm very grateful for that. So step one is gratitude. Step two is acknowledge something you heard that was an aha for you. Step three is appreciate the difference it can make in your life. Well, for me, when I really am ready to tune in, That's when I'm in this space of being centered and grounded with no attachment to how it's going to show up, exactly what it's going to look like. When I can step into that space of grateful curiosity and love and just be delighted by whatever is revealed, that's when the magic happens. So I'm going to take a little detour and tell you a story because this was a powerful experience for me. I was visiting my sister and her husband in La Paz in Mexico. And my husband told me, people come from miles around, from all around the world to try to snorkel or whatever with whale sharks because there are whale sharks in the area. So as soon as we get to my sister's sailboat, we said, yeah, I would love to see some whale sharks. And the guy right next to her said, hey, we just saw some this morning. They're hanging out over here. You want to go see them? So within like 10 minutes, here we are off on this guy's ponga to go swim with the whale sharks. This sucker is the size of a school bus. Plankton eater, not even remotely interested in us, but the water is all milky because it's so full of plankton. And I was freaking out. The gills on this thing were like 3 feet long. Yeah. And I'm hovering over the top of the animal. And it's this big, wide, long animal with a tail and this dorsal fin that sticks up at the very end. And it doesn't even look like the fish is doing anything. And he's hauling through that water faster than you can imagine. Obviously, it knows I'm there. Well, I'm geeking out over the majesty, the beauty, the wonder of this incredible animal. And I'm just so honored that I get to be in this space with this creature that's just beyond inspiring. I'm so blown away. And the whale shark is just whale sharking. It knows I'm there, but it couldn't care less. It's not trying to impress me. It's not putting on airs. It's not worried that its scales aren't lined up just right. No, it's whale sharking. And I suddenly got this message. Wouldn't it be nice if we could just enjoy being who we are? Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could be happy and grateful to be exactly who we are, exactly as we are? That was the message that whale shark had for me that day. These messages are all around us. It's just a matter of being willing to receive the messages, receive the beauty that is there. Let's get back to activating abundance. Step 1 is gratitude. Step 2 is acknowledge something you heard that was an aha for you. In this case, we're talking about what are your expectations around what you're going to receive. And are you receiving from a space of fear where you're shutting it down, or from a space of grateful curiosity and love where you welcome in the message in whatever form it takes? Step 3 is to appreciate the difference it can make in your life. Step 4 is to activate it. I found 3 different ways to take a concept and turn it into a tangible, physical reality. The first way is schedule time to get it done. Now, I count journaling, meditation, all of the training stuff that Nick was talking about. That goes on your schedule, because if you do not make time for it, you will not do it. You're busy. And this needs to be your priority. When you're serious about tapping into your intuition, really connecting with animals, really being able to receive all of the messages, do the homework, do the prep, do the practice. It really makes a difference. So schedule time to get it done. The second way is to use a physical trigger, like crossing your fingers or tugging on your earlobe as a reminder. What am I choosing to do right now? Am I setting up expectations on what this is going to look like? Or am I present with grateful curiosity and love, welcoming in whatever message is here for me to receive? I'll understand the message later, or maybe I won't. Sometimes I get a message and it doesn't make any sense for a day or two until other things come in. And when I can relax into just allowing it to be present in this space, more can show up. So use the physical trigger to just remind yourself, am I grateful? Am I in that space of grateful curiosity and love? The third way is to work with what I call an abundance buddy. Most people call them accountability buddies, but this is somebody who really gets you and they understand you're focused on activating your intuition and you kind of tend to fall into bad habits, right? And so you get a little irritated or frustrated when things aren't happening quite the way you thought they would. And this is somebody who can help you interpret the messages that are coming through and remind you about your expectations and stepping into grateful curiosity and love. All right, we went through step 1, gratitude. Step 2, acknowledge something you heard that was an aha for you. Step 3, appreciate the difference it can make in your life. Step 4, activate it. Step 5, celebrate your progress. As Nick was talking about, this is not a one and done. It's not like you get one message and you're done and dusted. No, 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 no. There's all kinds of messages available to you. Whenever you're willing to tune in, all you have to do is step into grateful curiosity and love. Be willing to be present. Be willing to witness the beauty, the majesty that is everywhere, especially inside you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you next time for the Abundance Journey. Thank you for joining me for the Abundance Journey. If today's episode inspired you, I would love to hear from you. Go to theabundancejourney.com/contact and click on the Share My Thoughts button to tell me what you loved or what you learned from today's episode. And when you do, you'll receive the Spiritual Alignment and Conscious Action Jumpstart as my free gift. Remember, abundance shared is abundance amplified, and it always reflects back to you. So be sure to share the Abundance Journey show with your friends. In fact, there are lots of great things you can share in today's show notes, like the free gift link, key insights, quotable comments, step-by-step processes, and lots more. The show notes link is in the episode description. Until next time, I'm Elaine Starling, the Abundance Ambassador, reminding you that every moment is a chance to create the abundant life your soul designed you to live.